What's up everyone, it's Iskander here. Welcome back to Tech Policy channel for tech news and crypto investment. In this video we're going to cover the recent Kaspa FUD that everyone is talking about and what to make of it. As always, anything we say in this video is not financial advice and for education and entertainment purposes. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video. You can join our free Discord group via the attached link. Alright, so let's jump into this what I call a storm in a teacup. There's just been a lot of drama. You could call it an identity crisis. Is Kaspa decentralized? Yes, it is decentralized, but the way some of the key accounts portrayed, they may come across as a centralized project. So there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of things sort of were put on pause. In particular, this account has been a bit dormant for the past 30 days or so without any updates since the Crescendo fork went live. You can see there was a pretty significant break since May 6, so about 30 days. And finally, we've seen a post basically explaining how this X page will be managed going forward. Now, if you're new to the project, so Chad was the marketing person. You can call this particular role whatever, CMO, or there's no official title, but he's been making regular updates. And due to a particular reason, the core team of contributors decided that, this particular account, the X page, is not portraying impartial views, but they actually, the fact that it's coming from an individual. So, even Hashtag, who is the main researcher behind Kaspa, posted a very lengthy article, essentially saying that things need to change. Very lengthy article, right? But the TLDR is such that it is a decentralized project. The X account needs to minimize human bias, and made some very technical suggestions for having AI agents manage the X account. Well, there's no AI will manage this account, because it's an X account, and it needs to be done by a human or a group of people. So there's been drama, and there's been a group formed of key individuals who've had a lot of vested interest in the project since very early days, who've made the sort of come to a decision to essentially manage the X account in such a way that its views, as you can see here, from now the account will not speak for Kaspa itself. It will have no voice and no face of its own. It will repost others, focusing on core updates, ecosystem posts, and plurality of less heard voices, and will engage with other like-minded projects, etc., so on and so forth. Now, is that going to change anything? Well, in my view, not really. What Chad was doing was a fantastic job. Essentially, the account will still continue posting updates once the shakedown is complete, and we'll just see it for what it is, just regular updates on the project as things evolve, new developments, new exchange listings, etc. That's the intent of it, right? X is X. You have a single account, a single user, and that a particular account can be rotated between a group of people or one person, right? That's just the way things are. Like, we can get into the details of decentralized, centralized nature, and how the project is managed, and various benefits of doing it one way or another. But essentially you still need someone to be making marketing updates and communicating effectively to push the project along. And there's been probably a lot of complex thinking and decisions behind it, and it ruffled a lot of feathers as part of the process, and I'll explain what that means shortly. But essentially as a result happened is Chad said, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to step out from managing the Kaspa X page. I'm going to launch my own Kaspa Commons page. And that will reflect, essentially cover news updates on the Kaspa project, and it'll be managed by him. So it'll, have his own Chad's, own personal flair and whatever he wants to post there, and that's fair enough. And he'll continue to manage, the LinkedIn page for Kaspa and others, but X was the main sticking point. And so now, we can see, the follow-up post was, okay, we means this particular individual, they all come from different, parts of the world, globally. He was previously with DAG Labs, working with Jonathan and, Michael and others. Obviously has a lot of vested interest, and these other guys have been heavily involved technically and conceptually, and they all have different backgrounds. The ambassador Luke, and then this particular individual, and you can look at all their pages and see what their involvement is essentially in the project going forward. But that's a group of people who essentially govern the communication and marketing as it relates to the Kaspa currency going forward. And what's interesting is they're inviting others to sort of be involved, actively involved, and in marketing Kaspa, which a lot of people are as a general community for their X pages. Now, because of all of this drama, it's effectively it's like a storm in a teacup. Other individuals such as Shai, he's had a very strong opinion on the way the account should be managed and how other members, as he calls, of the committee or the government have handled it. He's really dissatisfied. And I suppose he's technically very strong, and he's been the public voice, I suppose, on X as it relates to Kaspa for many years now. And when it comes to conferences and things like that, he presented on Kaspa mining and technology in general. And his approach has been interesting. It's you could call it crude. He brash in the way he responds. There's a lot of I suppose drama and flair when he communicates with others on X. So he's quite opinionated. And I think, as a result, there's been a lot of, I think, through this process around the Kaspa currency account and his own views, there's been that sort of caused a lot of friction between him and the team, and it created a bit of a split, I suppose. So he's started to distance himself from the project. A lot of people view this as a positive sign because he was actually doing more harm than good for the Kaspa project because of the the professionalism of the posts, the negativity, the language that he was using. It's some people would see it as very polarizing, right? And even to a point where core developers like Michael Sutton, so he's the, you could say he's the the chief engineer or the CTO next to Jonathan. So Jonathan is the researcher, and Michael turns all of the research and ideas into a technical implementation solution. So he's expressed some views in regards to the situation, right? And we can see on this particular post, when he made a post around the prophecy, which I'll get to in a minute. So here he said, he expressed some interesting points in regards to Shire's involvement going forward. That the fact that he is not involved in the development of Kaspa day to day, but he's been expressing some views that may be misaligned with the core developers of Kaspa. So what the way he communicates, it hasn't been effective, right? And obviously that caused some friction between Shai and Michael, and that's why we can see Shai starting to distance himself, and obviously he's been heavily invested, and he's still deciding exactly what he's going to do going forward. But essentially, what Michael is saying is, I would love for Kaspa and Shai to be able to have him as a communicator and evangelizer of Kaspa technology, but only if it can be done in a way which clearly communicates the fact that he has not been in an active builder for a long time, and that his views should be taken for what they are: brilliant scientists who's great at delivering big ideas in simple words. Look, I see that as a positive news. I think going forward, the key evangelizer of Kaspa should be someone who has a product mindset more, first and foremost, and communicates professionally about Kaspa core developments. So whether that will be someone else, taking Shai's place, or Shai will continue, that's to be determined. But if we take Sue, for example, and Adonai, he's the chief product officer, I think someone like that, an individual who accurately portrays Kaspa's development in a product sense, so in terms of features and how it benefits the world, would be the right way to communicate, as opposed to some of the how it's been done by Shai in a kind of crude manner, which with the size of Kaspa project, probably not the best way to conduct to do the formal communication in such a manner, right? So that's that in regards to Shai and the core team, as well as Chad. So yeah, look out for Kaspa Commons. That's Chad's new page. I personally, I'm going to be following him because I think he's a brilliant guy. He's contributed so much to the project, and I value that. There's been, this kind of what I've been describing. I suppose a lot of label it as a leadership conflict. It's a decentralized project, so is there really a leadership structure? Well, you could argue that there is, right? Because there's a core team of contributors from who come from different backgrounds, whether technical or the product background, or more community management. And Wolf is basically saying, right, so there's no leadership conflict within the Kaspa core hashtag. Jonathan leads the R&D. Michael Sutton, as I said, he's the chief engineer. And this is, essentially these are the core developers, right? So there's Aspect, Coda staff, and others. And Wolfie obviously has made a massitive contribution, right, into the Kaspa project, as that's him over there as a official or unofficial business development manager. So he's the one who's making deals with all the exchanges, which has a massive impact on obviously Kaspa price adoption, its liquidity. and general partnerships with large mining businesses, such as in this photo. So he's a key individual. Obviously, I'd love to see Wolfie continue. And he is. There's no issue there. We'll see him driving Kaspa forward as it comes to kind of general business and partnerships, and growing Kaspa. So really, what this boil down to, as I said on this post, and you can, by the way, follow Tech Pulse on this page here, so please subscribe. I'll make regular updates about Kaspa and news, and we'll also cover this obviously on YouTube. Cas is having an identity reset, just like BTC did, and of course BTC did as well. There's been a lot of shakedowns over the years between core contributors. Bitcoin has over 17 years of history of storming and forming, which is what Kaspa is going through now. So this will pass very quickly. I think that within the next 1 or 2 months, it'll be back to normal, and we'll see regular updates from the Kaspa page. We'll see what happens to the other key contributors like Shai. I think Kaspa is obviously growing as per this page. There's huge big projects contributing and expanding the growth and development on the Kaspa blockchain. Probably the ones that are worth highlighting would be Igra Labs. So that within the smart contracts, obviously that's the key evolution, the next step. Casplex, we've got key. They're all developing their versions of the smart contract on and the implementation using roll-ups and other technologies. There's Dex's Analytics, there's all these wallets which are already live, and NFT projects and exchanges and swaps and things like that, and also what accounts to follow. So I think obviously there has been significant FUD, which has had a price impact more than I would have liked to see, of about 40%, right? But I mean, of course, that coincided with the Bitcoin dump of about 8%. So Kaspa is not the only other altcoin that's dumping. Everything in the top 100,000 alts are down significantly. Now, if not for the FUD and all this, the shakedown, the storm in the teacup, I think we probably would have had a stronger hold on the price and less selling. It's usually all of the short-term little fish who may have bought at this point and now they can see it sliding and they're just selling that down, selling it off, or obviously traders as well, just trading within the range, taking short positions, and that drives the price down. Obviously Binance has the Kaspa perpetuals and there's a lot of liquidity there, and MEXC as well. But all of that will fix itself. I think it'll stabilize around this point. We'll see what happens to Bitcoin. We may see it sort of a little bit in this range, and then onwards and upwards from there. So I think Kaspa, this will, like I said, this little storm in the teacup will pass, and hopefully by end of year we'll see Kaspa at $1, and everyone will forget this ever happened. It's still a strong project, a strong team. There's been a bit of a reset, like I said, but it's onwards and upwards from here. It's the best proof of concept project after Bitcoin. Kaspa will do really, really well. Thanks for watching and listening to Tech Pulse once again, and please subscribe and join for more videos covering Kaspa going forward.